The first victory you must win is over yourself. Not your competitors, not your critics, not your circumstances. You must master the battlefield within. Because the truth is, goals do not yield themselves to the casual, the indifferent, or the weak-willed. They surrender only to those who force themselves forward, those who press on regardless of how they feel. Greatness is not stumbled upon. It is forged, it is carved by those who are willing to pay the price. Every achievement ever recorded in history began as a goal, birthed in the mind of someone who refused to accept defeat, someone who disciplined their thoughts, demanded results from themselves, and stood firm in the face of fear. You must train your mind to be obedient. If you do not, it will betray you. It will choose comfort over purpose, ease over excellence, distraction over destiny. The human mind is powerful beyond measure, but it must be commanded. It must be told what to do. If you allow it to run wild, you will find yourself drifting, wandering through life like a ship without a rudder. There comes a moment when you must stop negotiating with your excuses. The goals you set are promises to yourself, and promises mean nothing without action. Your will must become law. If you say you will rise at 5 in the morning, rise. If you say you will write the book, write. If you say you will build the business, build. It is not motivation that produces results, it is discipline. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline endures. There will be pain in the process, but pain is not the enemy. Pain is the price. When you force yourself to take action, even when every cell in your body screams for rest, you are teaching yourself a lesson that cannot be learned from books, that you are the master of your own destiny. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are the architect of your fate. Goals do not require convenience. They demand commitment. Every time you delay, you weaken your resolve. Every time you act in spite of discomfort, you strengthen your character. Do not wait until you feel like it. The day you feel like it may never come. Force yourself to begin. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates power, and power breaks barriers. Excellence is not born, it is built. You must be willing to repeat the hard things over and over until they become easy, and when they do, you must find new hard things to conquer. This is how champions are made. They do not shrink from challenge. They seek it. They embrace the grind, knowing that pressure builds strength and fire refines gold. You have within you a sleeping giant, but it will not wake itself. You must rise each day and stir it from slumber. You must speak words of power to yourself, not hollow affirmations, but firm declarations of intention backed by action. Say to yourself, I will not be denied. I will not quit. I will not surrender to laziness, fear, or mediocrity. Say it and then live it. Force is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is saying no to 1,000 temptations so you can say yes to your one true calling. It is drawing a line in the sand and standing on the side of your purpose, even when that means standing alone. The world will not hand you what you want. It will test you to see if you're serious. And if you are, you will force your way forward until doors open, mountains move, and chains break. You must become unreasonable with your goals. Reasonable people adjust to the world. Those who make history force the world to adjust to them. They do not ask for permission. They do not apologize for ambition. They pursue their goals with relentless intensity, and they do not stop until the goal is theirs. Force yourself to finish what you start. Half-built bridges never carry travelers. Ideas without execution are empty. The graveyard is full of potential never realized. Dreams never pursued, books never written, empires never built. Do not join their number. Be different. Be the one who followed through. You will be tired. Force yourself. You will be discouraged. Force yourself. You will be tempted to give up. Force yourself. Each time you choose action over apathy, you sharpen the blade of your will. And one day, that blade will be strong enough to cut through anything that stands in your way. Force is not violence. Force is power under control. It is the controlled burn of passion that refuses to be extinguished. It is the steady flame that keeps burning when others go cold. It is the inner voice that says, keep going, when the rest of the world tells you to stop. There is no magic pill, There is no shortcut, only a clear vision, a burning desire, and the force of will to carry it out. If you lack clarity, write it down. If you lack desire, fan the flame. If you lack discipline, train your will. But do not wait for someone to do it for you. This is your life. These are your goals, and no one is coming to save you. When you feel overwhelmed, break the task into small steps. Then take the first one, just one. Force yourself to move an inch, and soon you will have moved a mile. Momentum will catch you. But you must make the first move. You were not made for mediocrity. The dreams inside you are there for a reason. They are the whispers of your future calling to you, but they will not be handed to you. You must reach for them with blood, sweat, and the unyielding force of personal responsibility. Do not speak of goals if you are not willing to pay for them with effort. Do not say you want success if you are not prepared to earn it. The law of cause and effect is always in motion. Sow discipline, and you will reap destiny. You do not need more time, you need more urgency. You do not need more talent, you need more resolve. You do not need more support, you need more self-command. Everything you need is already within you, but it will only awaken if you demand it. The human spirit is capable of miracles when it is trained to obey its highest calling. But that training does not happen in comfort. It is born through pressure, through fire, through the daily confrontation with your weaker self. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you surrender a piece of your power. But every time you act, even when it hurts, you reclaim territory within yourself. There are two voices inside you. One whispers of ease, the other of excellence. One tells you to wait, the other tells you to move. One is the voice of limitation, the other is the voice of destiny. You must choose every single day which voice you will obey. And the longer you choose excellence, the louder that voice becomes until it drowns out all excuses and all doubt. Do not confuse force with aggression. Force is not wild. Force is not reckless. Force is direction, deliberate, persistent, focused direction. It is choosing to go left when fear demands you go right. It is writing one more page when you think you're out of words. It is making one more call when your pride tells you to stop. This is the kind of force that reshapes lives. Your goals must become more than a wish. They must become a command. Wishes sit idle. Commands ignite action. If your goals do not push you, they will not change you. Set them high, reach far, and then force yourself to stretch until your old self breaks under the weight of your new identity. You will be tempted by comfort. You will be seduced by distraction. You will be lured by mediocrity, dressed in convenience. Do not be deceived. The road to your goal is narrow, steep, and lonely, but it leads to glory. You cannot float there. You must fight your way forward. And when your strength fails, it is your will that must rise. You must learn to obey your own word. If you cannot trust yourself to do what you said you would do, who else will? Integrity is not only about truth with others, it begins with truth to self. If you say you will rise early, rise. If you say you will execute, execute. This self-command is the foundation of all achievement. Fear will whisper that you are not ready. Force yourself to act anyway. Doubt will scream that you are not enough. Force yourself to persist. The future you want will not meet you halfway. It will wait until you arrive in full. And that arrival requires labor. It demands sweat. It insists on sacrifice. Do not wait to feel confident. Force yourself forward while shaking. Confidence does not come first. It comes after. It is the byproduct of action, not its requirement. The more you act in the face of fear, the more courage you develop. And courage is the gateway to all achievement. Study those who have achieved great things, and you will find one thing in common. They were not always the smartest, they were not always the most connected, but they were always relentless. They forced themselves to rise when they fell. They forced themselves to believe when no one else did. They forced themselves to act when the world gave them every reason to stop. Your habits will determine your future. If your habits are weak, your future will crumble. If your habits are strong, your success is inevitable. And the only way to build strong habits is to force repetition, not once, not twice, daily, until what was once unnatural becomes instinct. There will be nights when you lie awake wondering if it's worth it. There will be mornings when your body aches and your heart is heavy. That is the test. That is the moment when champions are born. Do you retreat or do you rise? Do you give in or do you go on? The choice is always yours, and the reward is always waiting on the other side of effort. There is a reason so few succeed. It is not because they lack talent. It is because they stop. They choose the soft bed over the cold floor. They choose entertainment over elevation. They choose now over next. But you must be different. You must rise not just once, but again and again. You must build within yourself an engine of unrelenting action. When the days are long and the results are slow, remember this: every drop of sweat is an investment. Every ounce of effort is a deposit in your destiny. You may not see the return today, but the harvest will come if you do not stop. If you force yourself to press on, there will always be those who doubt you. Let them. You are not accountable to their expectations. You are accountable to your purpose. Let your results speak louder than their opinions, and let your discipline silence their criticism. There is no success without suffering. There is no crown without the cross. But every blow you withstand, every obstacle you overcome, adds weight to your character and polish to your legacy. What you are becoming is greater than what you are leaving behind. Force is not stubbornness, it is strategic stubbornness. It is the refusal to quit in the face of difficulty. It is the power to bend circumstances to your will by sheer repetition. It is the inner decision that says, I will not back down, I will not turn away, I will not shrink from what is required. You were not given goals to entertain yourself, you were given goals to change the world. But the world cannot be changed by passive observers. It can only be changed by relentless doers, by men and women who wake up and get after it, who put their hands to the plow and do not look back. The body will resist, the mind will protest, the environment will discourage. Force yourself anyway, because in that pressure lies transformation. In that friction lies formation. You are being shaped by every choice you make, either into the version of you that conquers or the version that caves. Make your goals your obsession, not in theory, but in practice. Let them be what you rise for. Let them be what you discipline your days around. And when others play, you train. When others quit, you endure. When others laugh, you build. This is the way of the one who chooses greatness. The people who achieve the impossible are not superhuman. They are simply those who refuse to quit. They refuse to entertain the thought of failure as final. And even when it felt like the world was against them, they forced themselves to keep marching. Because when your desire is strong enough, you will find a way. And if no way exists, you will make one. You must train your mind to obey your purpose. This is not done once, it is done daily. You must wrestle your thoughts into alignment with your vision. There will be days when your own mind turns against you, whispering lies of defeat, laziness, and limitation. In those moments, do not ask for strength. Demand it from yourself. Force your mind to return to the mission, over and over, until nothing distracts you and nothing delays you. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is undefeated. It is the greatest ally of all high performers and the sharpest tool in the chest of every successful man and woman. If you cannot be disciplined, you will become a slave to your impulses. And your impulses are not designed for greatness. They are designed for comfort, for survival, for stagnation. You must rise above them. When others are resting, you must be rising. When others are celebrating small victories, you must be building bigger ones. You must live like your future depends on it, because it does. If you force yourself to put in the work when you don't feel like it, you will reach places most only dream of. because most only move when it's easy. And those who only move when it's easy never get far. You do not need motivation. You need movement. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for lightning to strike in the same place twice. It's unreliable. It's unpredictable. But movement, consistent daily movement, will generate its own energy. You must stop relying on how you feel and start relying on what you've decided. A man with a purpose must become immune to petty distractions. He must walk past pleasure with his eyes fixed on his prize. He must reject shortcuts and detours. The mountain does not shrink to meet you. You must grow stronger to conquer it. Write down your goal. Read it aloud every day. See it, feel it, obsess over it. Let it take root in your imagination. The mind will create whatever it continuously sees and believes, but belief without action is fantasy, and action without force is weakness. Combine belief with force and you become unstoppable. Your environment will try to tame you. It will try to mold you into what's common, what's acceptable, what's average. Do not be tamed. Stay wild in your conviction. Stay bold in your behavior. Stay dangerous to your old limitations. Do not conform, perform. Do not shrink, expand. You were not born to blend in. You were born to rise above. Think back to the times you almost gave up, the nights you cried silently, the mornings you didn't want to get up, but you did. You got up anyway. That same power is still in you. It didn't leave. You just have to summon it again and again. Because the greatest people in history didn't win once. They won relentlessly. Goals are not reached by accident. They are reached by deliberate daily pressure. You must force yourself to act with urgency. You must learn to attack your to-do list with aggression. Do not drift, drive, do not wait. Strike. Take full ownership of your time. Guard it like treasure. Use it like a weapon. If you cannot control your time, you cannot control your destiny. And if you cannot control your attention, your mind becomes a playground for failure. Shut out the noise. Turn off the distractions. Silence the world if you must, until you hear the voice of your calling again. You are not here to consume entertainment. You are here to create results. It is not enough to set a goal. You must structure your life to serve that goal. Build routines that make success inevitable. Create habits that force you forward even when you're tired. Surround yourself with people who raise your standards. Build systems that punish laziness and reward action. And when life throws you off course, recalibrate without apology. The greatest enemy of progress is not failure, it is comfort. It is the lie that says you've done enough. It is the whisper that says, take it easy today. That voice is subtle, it is seductive, but if you obey it, it will ruin you. You must respond with fire. You must declare, I will not slow down, I will not settle, I will not stop until I see the goal in front of me, completed. Most people do not lose because they lack ability. They lose because they let up too soon. They relax when they should double down. They take their foot off the gas. They stop pressing. And in that moment of pause, life passes them by. You must do the opposite. When others rest, you rise. When others stop, you surge. You must fall in love with pressure. You must get excited about resistance. Because every ounce of pressure strengthens your will. Every difficult day is a test. And every test passed is a step closer to the life you were born to live. Train your brain to act without hesitation. When the task is clear, begin. Do not overthink. Do not second guess. Move. The longer you wait, the heavier the task becomes. But once you begin, momentum becomes your ally. And nothing defeats a man in motion. Most people lose because they argue with their excuses. You must silence yours. You must not negotiate with laziness. You must not debate with fear. You must crush them, dominate them, declare war on every voice that dares to delay your destiny. You must rise like a soldier, speak like a leader, act like a conqueror, and march like a man on fire. Your name will not be remembered for what you intended to do. It will be remembered for what you forced yourself to finish. Ideas are cheap, action is rare, and completion is sacred. You must become addicted to finishing. chase closure, crave completion, love results. When your body is tired, let your spirit rise. When your mind is foggy, let your will shine. And when the world tells you enough, whisper to yourself, not yet. Not until you cross the line. Not until you have what you came for. Not until you rise into the man or woman you were born to become. There comes a point in every achiever's journey when feelings must be silenced and decisions must take control. The person who operates by emotion will always be defeated by the person who operates by commitment. If you only move when you feel like it, you'll move so little you might as well be standing still. But if you train yourself to act no matter how you feel, then the world will bow to your persistence. Do you think the great ones felt like showing up every day? Do you think they always felt inspired, motivated? No, they felt tired, they felt discouraged, they felt afraid, but they showed up anyway. That's what separates them from the masses. That's what makes their names echo through time. They became the master of their mind, and you must do the same. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you own, and also the most dangerous enemy if left undisciplined. If you allow it to drift, it will sabotage you. It will create excuses, it will invent delays, it will magnify fear and minimize progress. But when you bring your mind under submission, when you tell it what to focus on, when to work, how to behave, it becomes a servant to your purpose instead of a rebel against it. You must become a dictator over your own mind, not cruel, but commanding, not reckless, but relentless. You must train your mind as if it were an army and your goal is war. There is no time for weakness, no room for wandering, no tolerance for delay. Victory belongs to the man who directs his inner world with authority. You must think your way into discipline. You must talk your way into courage. You must walk your way into momentum. Every single day is a choice. Either command your life or be commanded by your circumstances. Either rise in control or fall in regret. You will be tempted to quit. You will hear voices inside that whisper, it's too much. You're not ready. Why not rest today? Those voices are familiar, but they are not friendly. They are illusions meant to rob you of your future. You must answer back with action. You must say with your life, I go forward anyway. True power does not come from external applause. It comes from internal mastery. It is the ability to wake yourself up, to move yourself forward, to force your own hand toward action, even when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and no one is rewarding you. There's a special type of force, the kind that rewires your habits, the kind that shatters laziness, the kind that turns hesitation into hunger. You must tap into that force every single morning. You must not wait for the right mood. You must create the right mood by what you do, how you speak, and how you think. Write your goals, speak them aloud, visualize them in vivid detail, revisit them daily. Why? Because repetition carves pathways into your brain, and whatever you repeat long enough becomes your reality. You will not drift into greatness. You will not stumble into success. No one ever accidentally became exceptional. You must force your way into the life you desire, and that force must come from within. Not because someone told you to do it, but because you looked in the mirror and decided to do it yourself. Stop waiting to feel like it. You will rarely feel like it at first, but if you force yourself into the zone, if you take one step, then another, you will find the flow. Force leads to momentum, momentum leads to fire, and fire burns through every obstacle. A weak mind says, let's try. A strong mind says, let's train. A weak mind says, let's hope. A strong mind says, let's plan. A weak mind quits when it's hard. A strong mind forces itself forward. Which one will you be? You must decide to separate yourself from the majority. Most people live life on default. You must live on design. Most people react. You must respond with power. Most people talk. You must do. Most people fear. You must force. There will always be obstacles. Expect them. Welcome them. Because the obstacle is not your enemy, it is your sculptor. It is shaping your character. It is strengthening your resolve. It is proving whether you're serious or just curious. Anyone can start. Few can finish. You must be one of the few. There is no shortcut, no secret trick, no magic formula. There's only force, consistent, aggressive, forward-moving force. It is the daily push to rise early, think clearly, execute plans, and refuse to retreat. The difference between the great and the good is small, but it is everything. It is one more call, one more rep, one more hour, one more refusal to quit. You will never know how close you were to success if you stop. But if you force yourself to keep moving, you might find out how powerful you really are. Every time you do something you didn't want to do but needed to do, you build a layer of strength. You harden your will, you sharpen your mind, you build a legacy. One disciplined action at a time. You must train your eyes to see not where you are, but where you're going. See the house before you build it. See the success before you live it. The world around you may not match your vision yet, but keep forcing yourself forward, and eventually the world will have to catch up. Force yourself to write the book, to start the business, to make the call, to go to the gym, to build the brand, to wake up early, to read the chapter, to eat the right food, to stay focused, to push through pain, to speak boldly, to think bigger, to believe harder, to do it again tomorrow, because each time you do, you multiply your power, you increase your capacity, you raise your threshold, and eventually, you no longer have to force it, it becomes who you are. But make no mistake, it starts with force, because without the force to begin, nothing begins. Without the push through discomfort, nothing great is born. You must fight for your goals, and you must fight daily, with intensity, with precision, with fire in your soul. Success is earned, it is claimed, it is dominated, it is forced into existence by the relentless. You cannot whisper your way into greatness. You must roar, you must rise, you must refuse to let weakness win, and you must act in the face of everything that says you can't. That is how the impossible becomes possible. That is how the dream becomes the result. That is how the unseen becomes the undeniable. There is a moment in every person's life where they must make a defining decision, not once, but every single day. That decision is this: will I obey my excuses, or will I obey my destiny? You cannot serve both. One will become your master, and whichever one you feed with action becomes the architect of your future. The man who forces himself to move when he doesn't feel like it, to plan when his mind wants to drift, to execute when his body feels tired, that man begins to reshape his life. Not overnight, but over time. Every forced step builds a foundation. Every difficult action creates a mental muscle, and that muscle becomes your freedom. It is not enough to want something. Everyone wants something. Desire without discipline is nothing more than fantasy. The world is full of people who wish for greatness but are unwilling to pay the price of discomfort. You must be different. You must desire results more than relief. Rightness is not found in convenience. It is not born from pleasure. It is carved from discomfort, sculpted by resistance, and delivered by the hands of forceful action. The pain of discipline is far lighter than the pain of regret. You can choose one now or be haunted by the other forever. There is a secret that most never discover. Momentum is not a gift, it is a creation. And the raw material for momentum is force. Kind of force that gets you up when you'd rather stay in bed. The kind that pushes you through study when distractions call. The kind that refuses to delay because purpose is more urgent than comfort. You must reprogram your thinking. Most minds have been trained to seek comfort, not conquest. Your mind is conditioned by years of habits, fears, opinions, and expectations. If you want to achieve something the average person never will, you must think in a way the average person never does. You must train your mind like a warrior trains for war. What is that training? It is not soft. It is not passive. It is deliberate, ruthless, focused. It means you monitor your thoughts, challenge your limitations, and correct your language. It means you don't say, I'll try. You say, I will. It means you don't say, maybe someday. You say, I begin today. And when the pain hits, and it will, you do not negotiate with it. You do not say, maybe tomorrow. You say, I keep moving anyway. Because that moment, the moment when you feel the greatest resistance, is the exact moment when you build the greatest strength. Do not waste it. There is no glory in soft living. There is no victory in excuses. Success is attracted to clarity, to persistence, to the kind of self-belief that doesn't need applause. It is drawn to the person who shows up before the world is watching, who practices in silence, who trains in darkness and then explodes into the light. You must force yourself to live with urgency. You are not promised tomorrow, and you are not entitled to the rewards of dreams you refuse to pursue today. Urgency does not mean anxiety, it means clarity. It means you stop pretending you have time to waste. It means you start acting like your future is being written right now. With every choice you make, you must learn to love the hard, fall in love with the grind, respect the challenge, welcome the resistance. Because every bit of pain that comes from forcing yourself forward becomes fuel. And when the reward finally arrives, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like justice. You are not meant to sit still. You are meant to expand, to rise, to build, to achieve. And every act of discipline expands your capacity. Every act of effort makes the next one easier. Your ceiling becomes your floor. Your limits begin to stretch. And you no longer live in survival mode. You begin to live in domination mode. You will see people around you quit. You will see them make excuses. You will see them waste time, scroll endlessly, talk big and act small. Let them. Let the world do what it wants. But you must rise. You must be the exception, the one who doesn't just dream, but executes. The one who doesn't just wish, but works. And the work will not always be pretty. Some days it will be slow. Some days it will be messy. Some days it will feel like nothing is working. That's when you dig deeper. That's when you remind yourself, I don't work for feelings, I work for the future. You don't ask how you feel, you ask, what must I do? Because once you master that, you master life. The greatest performers in the world, the visionaries, inventors, leaders, builders, they did not wait to feel like it. They acted with force, and the feeling followed. The world rewards those who lead their emotions, not those who follow them. You are building something far greater than goals. You are building you, and the future version of you is watching what you do today. That version is strong, clear, focused, wealthy, disciplined, influential, and unshakable. But that version only appears if you force yourself to become it. One decision, one action, one day at a time. No one else can do this for you. No one else can think for you. No one else can force you to succeed. That power lies in your hands. That is the greatest news of all. You are not waiting for a savior. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for ideal conditions. You are waiting for nothing. You are acting now. The clock is ticking. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. The man who understands time, not just intellectually, but emotionally, forces himself to act because he realizes that every delay is a thief of destiny. He does not wait until he's ready. He understands that readiness is a myth, and action creates readiness. You were not born to drift. You were not born to remain average, to merely exist, to be blown by the winds of circumstance. You were born with the power to direct, to decide, to design. That power is within you, but it is dormant until you command it. And you command it by force. You summon it by pushing yourself beyond what you think is possible. There is a war between who you are and who you are meant to become. And the battlefield is found in every little decision you make. To wake up or sleep in. to write the plan or let it drift, to push one more rep or give up, to speak truth or stay silent. These are not minor choices, they are life-altering declarations. The person who reaches the summit of their life does not do so because it was easy. They get there because they learned to do what others won't. They mastered the boring. They embraced the repetition. They showed up on the days their emotions told them to hide. They moved when there was no motivation. They fought when fear tried to paralyze them. They forced themselves forward, and that force created momentum, and momentum became destiny. You cannot rise without resistance. And if you're feeling it now, good. That means you're on the path. That means you're close to something bigger. Resistance is not a wall. It's a mirror. It's showing you exactly where you must grow, and growth begins with pressure. Diamonds are not born in silence. They are born in force. Success is earned. It is demanded by those who refuse to stop. You must train your will to be stronger than your mood. Your vision must be louder than your doubt. Your hunger must burn hotter than your fears. Because in the moments of struggle, when your body is tired and your mind screams for relief, that's where the real you is born. No one forces themselves consistently and fails. It's impossible. You might fall, but you will never fail if you keep showing up. The universe bends to persistence. Life rewards intensity. Reality obeys those who act with authority. If you demand results from yourself long enough, they will appear. The results have no choice. Because results follow repetition, and repetition is born from force. When people look at you and ask, "How did you do it?" you won't say luck. You won't say chance. You'll say, "I did it by force. I moved when I didn't want to. I acted when it hurt. I believed when it was hard. I sacrificed when no one was watching. I worked when others quit. I built myself brick by the power of my will." Let the world stay comfortable. Let them wait for motivation. Let them keep making excuses. But you were never meant for that. You were meant for more. You were meant to rise. You were meant to lead. You were meant to become the example that proves what's possible when one person decides to stop waiting and start creating. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next month, now. This is the turning point. The choice is yours. Force yourself to rise, and you'll never go back. You will never be the same again, and the world will not be able to deny what you have become. Because when you force yourself long enough, you don't just achieve goals, you transform, you evolve, you dominate. Now is the time to look yourself in the mirror, not to examine your flaws, not to recount your failures, but to meet the version of yourself who has been waiting to emerge. Look into your own eyes and see the fire that's still there. It never left. It may have been buried beneath delay, excuses, and fear, but it's still burning. You are not done. You are just beginning. The future you want isn't waiting at the end of comfort. It's waiting at the edge of resistance. It's on the other side of fear. And it will only appear when you decide to force yourself through the wall of doubt, hesitation, and temporary discomfort, because that wall is an illusion. The real barrier is your decision to act or not act. And once you decide to act, the wall crumbles. This world belongs to the disciplined, to the doers, to the dreamers who wake up early, work late, and refuse to surrender. It belongs to the men and women who have trained themselves to move with purpose, even when the motivation runs dry, because they understand something others never will. Action creates power, and the more you force yourself to act, the more powerful you become. Every morning, the battlefield resets. You wake up with two choices: to rise or retreat, to expand or shrink, to dominate the day or be dominated by it. The person who forces themselves to rise early, to speak boldly, to execute relentlessly, that person becomes unstoppable. If you want freedom, true freedom, you must first master yourself. If you want success, you must earn it with daily deliberate action. If you want to transform, you must force yourself into habits that shape the very core of your identity. You must refuse to negotiate with your weaker self. You must become a leader of your own mind. It's not about waiting for the right conditions. It's about becoming the kind of person who creates the right conditions. You don't sit around hoping to be confident. You build confidence through relentless repetition. You don't wait to be inspired. You become inspiration by how you move through adversity. The force you apply to yourself echoes into everything you touch. Let the average be average. Let the excuse makers drown in their own reasons. But you are here to make something different of your life, something remarkable, something undeniable. And it will only happen when you step across that invisible line and say, I will no longer wait. I will no longer retreat. I will move forward no matter what. Your dreams demand discipline. Your goals demand guts. And your future demands force. There is no other way. So get up, stand tall, tighten your resolve, look your fears in the eye and walk through them. The road will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. One decision, one action, one day at a time. That's how you climb mountains. That's how you build empires. That's how you become the person you were meant to be. And when the world finally notices your success, when they ask you how you did it, you won't need to boast. You won't need to explain. You'll just smile and know the truth. You forced yourself. You kept going. You never stopped. You earned it, every single inch of it. And the world, it will never forget the name of the one who refused to quit. In the end, it all boils down to this. You have everything you need to succeed. The resources, the talent, the ability, they are already within you. What's required now is a commitment to stop waiting for the perfect moment, to stop looking for shortcuts, and to stop letting fear hold you back. The only thing between where you are and where you want to be is the force you're willing to exert, the discipline you're willing to build, and the actions you're willing to take, no matter how hard they may seem. You are capable of more than you've ever realized. You are capable of pushing through the toughest moments, of defying the odds, of rising again when you fall, and most importantly, of forcing yourself to do what others will not. You have the power to demand success, but that demand comes from your own effort, from your own daily deliberate actions. You cannot wait for success to find you. You have to go out there and create it, force it into being. Every time you rise in the morning, you make a decision. Every task you tackle is a declaration that you will no longer wait. Every decision to push through discomfort is another brick laid in the foundation of your legacy. Every moment you choose to act despite fear is a victory. It is the key that unlocks the doors of your dreams, of your goals, of everything you've ever wanted. But it starts with one thing. You must force yourself to act. No one else will do it for you. The world doesn't owe you success. It owes it to those who decide to take it. The only path to greatness is the path of action, the path of persistent, relentless force. So stand up today. Make the decision today. No more waiting, no more hesitation, no more excuses. Start now. Force yourself to take that first step and keep going.